Alright guys, so I'm trying something new today. Tried to fix the quality of the webcam a little bit and hopefully a bit of the audio, but I don't know. I'm not sure yet. I'm still experimenting. I don't know how good it's going to be, but the point of this video is that I want to show you guys some cool new features that I found on Windy. Really, really cool actually. So basically, if you zoom in. Okay, the first one's what I showed you earlier. That's just for the pressure. So on the desktop version here, I've already added. If I went to more layers, then if you scroll down, then you would find all the other things that you can add here. And here you've got pressure. So I've just turned that on. And then once that's turned on, if I go here on the main menu and I push pressure, then it's actually going to give me the high and the low pressure in color. So all of these darker, like orange version, the orange colored ones here, this is all the high pressure, and all the blue is the low pressure. So now with the cold fronts, those are low pressure systems that are moving through. So this is a really, really nice way to visualize, what's happening. So if you don't know if 10, 20 or whatever, HPA is high or low pressure, with this, it actually doesn't matter. You can really see all those cycling low pressures. This is making like one long system here. And if you zoom really out, you can see that these are like super low pressures. We can also add the actual, which I normally have on. There we go. This one here, display isolines, pressure isolines, which is actually a bit nicer. It just gives you more detail. There you can see, and that just confirms that you can see the high pressures going around clockwise. So that's obviously, if you compare that with this red one here, then obviously this is even high pressure. Look at that, 1031, and here's the 1021. So instead of trying to follow the lines and see, okay, which ones are they still high pressure or they're not, you've got a really nice visual thing here showing you exactly where they are. Low pressure system here, the dark blues. So this, I just discovered this morning. This is really, really cool, I think. Really easy to see what's happening and kind of try and learn a little bit more about pressure systems using that. So anyway, that's not actually the main thing I wanted to show you. What I found this morning was that Windy has on the desktop version like this, it has plugins, and there are two. So you open up. There's two main ones that I want to show you today. So you open up this menu section here. And actually, just before I show you that, if you right-click anywhere on the map, there's actually an option here to see a sounding. And that I actually didn't know about before, and it's kind of useful, but I find it a little bit difficult to use because this actual sounding thing here, you can't move it around. So if I click on like around Hermanus, for example, just here, then it's right at the bottom, and I can't actually. Okay, I can move the whole thing up like that, but it's not so intuitive or user-friendly. You can still scroll if you click. Actually, I see there you can scroll down. You can see pretty strong winds around the coast. It's confirming that. But a better way. So there's some plugins that you can use. So click on these three bars at the bottom, at the top left here, and then you go on to Menu, and then go to Install Windy Plugin. So if I open those up, then I'm going to go down. Now there's two options here. You can either do the SKU diagram, or there's another sounding, a more detailed sounding. And I found that the SKU diagram, we can have a look at it quickly. If I open that up and right click again and push SKU, then, okay, so now it's got SKU selected. So now all I'm going to do is just left click on the area where I want to do it, like we do with the wind, and then the SKU is going to pop up as well, and I can move that map out the way. So it's much better situated here. It's moved to the left of the screen, so we can actually see it while there. It is a SKU though, so you've got to hover your mouse over the different areas to find what's going on, and like with all traditional SKUs, when it comes to doing things scientifically, it always seems to be that we try and do things as well. The scientists now, I can't include myself in that, try to make it as complicated as possible. Obviously, they're putting all the data in there and they have to put it in a certain way so it's readable, but this to me is also, it's really confusing. So a better thing to use, and to me this is very exciting, is install Windy plugin. I've installed them already, and then you go here and open is this sounding. It's more detailed sounding. So I'm going to open that, and now let's go to, I don't know why that zoomed in so far. Okay, it was trying to open the sounding. I don't know why it zoomed in so far. Didn't mean for that. Just give me 1 second while this computer doesn't freak out so much. Alright, let's go around Solari's Pass area. So left click, and that's going to give me the Scooty because we had that selected last time. So we just try and get rid of that. Okay, right click. Let's select better sounding. That's the plugin. Now we can select the area that we want. So there we go. Okay, so left click now in the spot. So now we've got over at Solari's Pass. And now we have something very, very useful and interesting over here. So here you've got your soundings. It's a bit like a SKU-T, but it doesn't have all this as much data in there. But for what we need, this is all that we want. So here you've got your red line, your temperature line, your dew point, and because they're very close together, so we know that means that the air is probably going to be saturated. And what's so cool here is that on the left, this is in meters. Here you've got the gray band. So this is like a 2D slice of the atmosphere right now in that spot going up, and that's showing us that it's got some cloud cover. Darker areas obviously going to be more cloud, and as you then go higher, it starts to lighten up, which is what you also see here in the spread, which is the dew point and the temperature difference. As it starts to separate, it means the air is getting slightly drier as you go higher. On the right-hand side, here you've got the 2D of the wind. So, and what's very nice is when you scroll over here, it's actually giving you the actual wind reading. So if I go to 1,000 meters, there on that line, roughly 65 k's an hour. If I go down to the surface, 30 k's an hour. And you visually can see the direction of the wind, and you can also visually see the angle of this purple line. That's the wind strength as it goes up in altitude, and in this case, it's increasing. And then the number, there's 64, 65, that is corresponding with that actual purple line. As we go right up into the jet stream, in this case, well, not even, it's over maybe 6,000 odd meters, we're looking at 150 k's an hour. And so I think you can probably already see this is so cool. I mean, we've got the RAS, but that only gives you certain points a few times a day. With this, you can go any hour, any day, in any spot, and it's going to give you a sounding for that spot with a 2D of the wind gradient, and potential thermal formation too. So let's go to, if we have a look tomorrow, let's say 12 o'clock tomorrow, or 11 o'clock here. Okay, so check this out. Here you have, there you've got your general, your temperature spread there, but this air is obviously quite humid because even over the spread is kind of wide here, you've got cloud forming, and you can see that here now. We've got a nice little green dot which shows unstable air. So we've got thermals that would rise from this level here, from surface, all the way up to that little first dotted line where that little cloud is over here. That's base. That's your cloud base. And what this is showing that clouds will follow this saturated line here, and probably start around just over 1,000 meters and go up to about 2,000 meter clouds there. So that, I mean, that is so cool. And then on the right hand side again, now we've got the wind strength. So tomorrow, Monday, would be a really unstable day. But what it's showing us as well is that we've got cloud, quite tall cloud as well, like a kilometer. So that's almost as high as what it is off the ground. So, and then we've got on the right here, we've got some pretty strong winds. They increase to cloud base, then they get a little bit less, and then they start to increase dramatically again above cloud base. So from this graph, it's at 2 o'clock. Doesn't look like there's going to be much flying tomorrow. You can see that at 2 o'clock the cloud height drops significantly. As the spread here, the difference between the temperature and the dew point starts to widen, the air gets less saturated, but the wind strengths are still pretty strong from surface all the way up to cloud base. and they do back off. Quite interesting to see how they back off. They're all northwesterly winds. So Monday looks like it's out. This is Solaris anyway. Tuesday, 11 o'clock, we're seeing a very similar picture. We also, if we look at the actual cloud formation over on this part of the diagram, we see that there's a lot of cloud, probably some rain still. It's also shown here from the sounding. And as we move through the day, wow, super unstable. Look at that difference. Look at that green line, how far it is off the red line. So a lot of energy, a lot of cloud on the left, as we can see here. Cloud base, probably from 1,700 meters up until 2,000 meters. What will be really interesting to see from this diagram is where this low cloud will be sitting. Maybe there's pockets of, there might be areas where there's like a lot more moisture there, but maybe it's not moist enough to form cloud. I don't know. It'd be really good to see how we interpret this on the day, how to actually use this. But again, we're seeing strong winds as well on Tuesday. So Tuesday looks out from a snapshot point of view here. Wednesday looks like a very similar picture as well. Lots of cloud, lots of rain, dark all the way from the surface here, all the way up. And actually from this spread on the left here, it looks like, that does look like it's kind of saturated almost to the surface. That's Wednesday. But now if we look at that, lots of rain, lots of cloud. Again, I'm only looking now at the Solaris Pass Cape Town region. It might be different in Porterville. And if we have a look here now on Thursday, I think it was looking, it looks a lot better. So we are seeing a lot of clouds, potentially some rain as well. But what I am noticing here on the right hand side is have a look at this wind strength. So we can actually switch this over to wind here as well. And there we can see that at 750 meters, we've got 14 km an hour southwest winds. And so that correlates perfectly to the sounding. So the actual map, the usual wind diagram over here, that's a nice visual representation. But this here really is where all of the relevant data that you need is just sliced, put there for you, and you've got everything there that we can tell for how the day could possibly be. And also, very importantly, obviously, we can see wind gradient here really clearly, and it gives an amazing visualization as to what happens often at an inversion. So if you see here how it increases with altitude slightly, and then it kind of stays the same, 14 km an hour, all the way up to cloud base. The air then becomes dry, so no cloud really forms, maybe a little cumulus clouds, and then you've got an inversion. And at that inversion level, have a look at how the wind starts to increase dramatically, all the way up there to this point. So really, really amazing feature. I'm really excited to use this more. It doesn't look like you can really use it on your cell phone. You can look at the other sounding on your cell phone though, so you can get some information, which is quite nice. You just long press, choose sounding. But if we had to have a look the Porterville region the next few days, yeah, I'm seeing quite a lot of strong wind there. If we put the sounding out that side, let's have a look. Yeah, you can see very light surface winds, and actually not so bad going up to cloud base. But then we've got deep clouds, saturated air, very tall clouds, so possibly some rain and things as well. We can have a look at the rain forecast. Yeah, we're seeing a lot of rain forecast for there as well. 3 mils, so some rain forecast for Tuesday. And let's have a look if the same pattern is from a kind of a broader view. It looks kind of similar on, this is on Wednesday. And let's have a look on Thursday. Yeah, it looks like the rain disappears on Thursday again here. So now we see that the winds drop. They become much lighter. In Porterville, let's even drop this to surface now if we want. We can drop it to takeoff height. Depends where we have our key level. Because here we can actually see, and this would be actually a really nice forecast for Porterville on Thursday as well. Light winds, unstable conditions, all the way up to kind of the inversion, which is around, it looks like about 1,400 meters, which is really decent. Let's see. Oh, unstable even early on in the morning. Just the wind direction is very south early on, as we can see from here. So Carducci could be a really good potential on Thursday. But yeah, so without going into too much detail here, I'm not doing a full weather forecast here. It's just to give you guys an idea just how powerful and how awesome that feature is. And I really think you should start using it on a daily basis. I think you can learn a lot about the weather, and then, or the quality of the day. And then, okay, so just to make a note here quickly before I go on to the next thing, the plugins, you can't kind of turn them on and off. You have to refresh the browser. So that's why they also don't stay there. So if I right click, now I've got the two that I've loaded. So that's the Scooty and the better sounding. But if I reload the page, then those will disappear. You'll see that now. So if I right click now, even before it's loaded, you're going to see that I've only got the sounding back. But it's not really a biggie because you can have it all open while you're doing your forecasting. The next thing I want to show you, which also can be quite useful if you want to get an overall picture of what's happening in the day and you can't go flying, is that we can go install Windy plugin, and there's an airspace. There's airspace. Okay, I might as well load that as well now, just so you guys can see. It's not so great. It's a little bit hard to actually click on it to see what the altitudes are and things, but it does give us a really nice overview. So if you kind of learn your airspaces using your airspace map on Google Earth or something, I'll do another video about that at some stage. If you overlay, at least here you can kind of really see. So for example, when we fly from Solaris Pass over the Franschhoek Valley, then there's that airspace between De Toyskloof and Bainskloof, Bainskloof is around over here. And so it's this section of airspace here over Wellington. That's the 1,300 odd meter airspace that we have to avoid. And it's as you're going through the Paarl Valley, there's a small hills in the front here. There's Franschhoek, and then as you're coming around the corner, you start to get low, and it's just this corner here that really gets in our way. And then once you are through where the clearings are now, just past the Toyskloof, there's some forest has been cleared, and there's some really jagged rocks. I'll do another video on that at some stage as well. Then you get through the airspace, and then you can go pretty high again. If you click on it, it does give you the Cape Town CTA. And I think if you click on it here, actually it does. So that's category C. So that's 8,500 feet to 14.5 is that airspace. If you click on this one here, then you've got, okay, there's a danger area that you've got to look out for. But the one that we are actually needing to stay out of the way, let's see, it's that one. It's the 4,500 foot. So that's the one that we need to avoid when we're in that area. So actually very useful to have that as well. And it's just so nice because it means that all of these things now are starting to come in one app, and so the fewer places we have to go, the more data we can have in one app. Is just it's really exciting. And the last one I wanted to show you is this is also pretty cool. This is a South African one, South African weather stations, and have a look there, iweather.co.za. So we open that up. And so this is just the only annoying thing about this is that I can't now remove the airspace if I want to, for example, because I'd have to refresh the browser, and then I would have to open up the iWeather stations again. But it's cool. It's not the end of the world. So now we have all these little yellow dots. Those are all the iWeather stations. So what we can do, I did this earlier, it was actually quite interesting, is we go to, let's say, Signal Hill, and look at the forecast, and let's drop that to 100 meters, let's say. And so the European model forecast at the moment has it at southwest 9 km an hour. That's the forecast. And then the actual station is showing it at 39 to 60 km an hour. So earlier it was actually spot on. The European model had it at 49 km, and the GFS model had it at 57 km, and it was gusting between 49 and 53 or something. So it was actually pretty close. Click on station detail and it takes you to some of the parameters here. The average at the moment is 51 k's. So it looks like it's actually still a lot stronger than what it was forecast. But I just realized that I'm being a chop. This is on Thursday. So if we look at today, for what's the time now? 5:36. So if we look at the forecast here for 5 p.m. Okay, there we go. So that's at 100 meters, closest we can get to 6. And look at that. That's actually really cool to see. So the European model forecast is westerly, 40 k's an hour, and the actual wind talker now is showing westerly between 40 and 60 k's an hour. So because of the compression there, it's probably stronger coming over the hill, but the actual forecast for the area is basically spot on. If we go to the GFS model, and this is where I think this can be really useful. If we go to GFS now, then look at that, 47 k's an hour. It's also smack bang in there, So it's really another just brilliant, useful feature to look at. Table Mountain, as we know, that's in a really bad place. So it's showing southwest now, and it's also quite sheltered, so it's not as strong, but it's most likely going to be a lot stronger up there. And if we have a look at the what we can also do there to confirm that, to have a look at the gradient, because maybe there is a reverse gradient, which I doubt on a day like today. And we have a look at that sounding for Table Mountain area. So we'll do this, move that over there. Let's have a look. Yeah, it's actually pretty uniform. It seems all the way up. And actually interesting, if you have a look where I just clicked now, I clicked on top of Table Mountain, and actually that's giving me the surface as 1,000 meters, and all this brown is obviously where there's nothing. So that is really, really brilliant. That's really great, because you'll see that the lapse rate is also affected by the terrain. It can be, you can get thermals pushing off higher off a mountain because of the heating on the surface elevation, if it's above an inversion or something. So there is a lot of data, there's a lot of information, and this sounding, this plugin here, I think it's really going to help us a lot with our flying forecasting, and it's going to be very interesting to see how accurate it is, especially as it relates to our flying in the next period that comes along. So yeah, I think that's enough for now. Hopefully the audio and stuff's going to be good on the video. Basically, yeah, I'm planning to do a lot more of these now, especially for you guys that are on the Sparrows and the Sparrowhawks groups. And so, yeah, hopefully this goes well. If not, I'm going to just try and tweak it and things and try and get the best quality that I can for you guys. I've got a lot of ideas, but if you do have anything specific that you want me to chat about, then yeah, let me know, and I'll see if I can get that covered for you. So lekker. Enjoy the time with family while we're all indoors, and I'll see you guys soon. Chat soon. Take it easy.